All right, folks, I'm back with the update. And remember, what I'm doing with this particular set of TikToks is following in real time what appears to be a quid pro quo that is unfolding as it relates to the suspension of RFK's campaign. If you don't have the full context of what I'm referring to, make sure you follow the comment back to the original TikTok so that way you are all the way up to date with some of the things that I have been looking at as it relates to this. So, remember when RFK said this?
In about 10 battleground states where my presence would be a spoiler, I'm going to remove my name. And I've already started that process and urge voters not to vote for me. It's with a sense of victory and not defeat that I'm suspending my campaign activities.
So the question becomes, why is RFK trying to remove his name from the ballot in battleground states? Take a listen.
Furthermore, our polling consistently showed that by staying on the ballot in the battleground states, I would likely hand the election over to the Democrats with whom I disagree on the most existential issues.
So what's happening here is he's trying to remove his name from battleground states in an effort to make sure that Democrats do not win. However, those plans in at least 2 states have now been folded. Both Wisconsin and Michigan have said, listen, we know you want to take your name off that ballot, but it's staying on there. It's not going anywhere. And specifically as it relates to Wisconsin, Wisconsin's state law says that in order for your name to come off that ballot, you have to no longer be living. And he is living, so his name will not be coming off of the ballot. So what RFK is now having to do is send out word of mouth, use social media to advise his folks that, hey, please do not vote for me if you are in a battleground state, because I have now agreed to some terms, right? This is what I'm imagining he's saying in his head, that he has now agreed to some terms, and it's impossible for him to backtrack that now because Wisconsin and Michigan are no longer letting him out. And why is this important? Because according to recent polling that we see here that is made available by 538, is that Kamala Harris is now surging in Wisconsin, Michigan, as well as Pennsylvania, and Trump's lead in Georgia has shrunk to 0.5. Now, keep in mind that this is coming from RFK after he approached Kamala Harris's campaign and said, hey, in exchange for my endorsement, what I want is a role in her cabinet. And the Harris campaign said, absolutely not. It's not happening. And so now he's went over to Trump. Trump has agreed to some things, and now RFK is on a mission to see if he can move his voters in a particular way. Now, as RFK is attempting to remove his name from the ballot in battleground states, he is simultaneously keeping his name on the ballot in other states. As a matter of fact, he also has recently filed paperwork to be on the ballot in Kentucky, which will be a red state. But the point being is that he's still trying to accumulate votes to have a certain effect so that it slims the lead, hopefully, of those that would vote Democratic. That's what he's trying to do. That is what his ambitions are, as he has made very clear here in his speech. Another thing that has to be pointed out here is that lawmakers have advised Elon Musk that, hey, whatever algorithm you have going on your AI on X, you got to fix that because it's giving out information that is not accurate, and it's now causing a problem for the election. So here we are with the same 3 folks, Trump, Elon, and RFK. This is something we got to keep our eyes on and think about. What also must be added to the mix are the lawsuits that the GOP is preparing. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, make sure you check out The Purpose of Project 2025 Part 6. It is on my profile. I have set aside a public collection, and you can click on that collection and you'll see that series that I'm working on, where I'm talking about who are the key players behind Project 2025 and how it came to be. Not necessarily what's in it, because we know that, but who are the key players behind Project 2025 and how did we get into this moment, right? But in either case, for the time being, it does seem that RFK's plan of attack is now firing back on him, and he's not going to be able to get done, at least in Wisconsin and Michigan, what he hoped to get done. So we will see what this means for the relationship between him and Trump, and if it has any impact. But in either case, we're keeping track of this in real time, and let's see what bears out. Talk to you later. Peace.